Hello and welcome to the Hem Productions podcast for, what week is it? It's the 15th of January today, recording this. And what have I seen? I've seen two Best Picture frontrunners with two of my favorite acting performances of 2025. That's right, I caught up on both Marty Supreme and No Other Choice. Two films I was really looking forward to, and two films that both paid off. See which one I like better coming up soon. We also had the Golden Globes have their awards show. We can discuss all that, discuss some of the winners, what this means for the Oscars, and we have a little bit of news as well other than that. But let's get straight into this week because we've got a lot to talk about. So, right off the bat, for those not in the know, the Golden Globes used to be considered a bit of a precursor to the Oscars, but they never really were. Big difference between the Golden Globes and a lot of these other awards shows, as you start seeing, is they're a for-profit entity. So all their picks are made, in promotion of the show. The show this year was quite bad. We had a lot of forced advertisement. We had gambling odds on the screen. The Golden Globes really are proving themselves to be kind of a joke of the industry, but it gets a bunch of actors in the same room together, and we also just get to see how the larger public feels about some movies. And I have to say, some of the winners are a bit all over the place. We had some expected winners and some that I wouldn't say were quite as expected. Let's start at... they even have television awards, which we're just going to completely ignore because nobody cares about that. Let's start with Best Original Song, which went to Golden, K-Pop Demon Hunters, very obvious. We had Best Podcast, which, another thing that's ridiculous. Good Hang with Amy Poehler won that. Best Original Score, which wasn't given out on the telecast, went to Sinners. Absolute deserved win there. Best Screenplay went to Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. There's no adapted or screenplay. They're not separated at the Globes. So we had PTA versing things like Sinners, which is an original film. And it won over those. We had my favorite win of the night. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy went to Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. She gave an excellent speech. Nice to see an Aussie win, but also a win for such a smaller movie and a film speaking to a very women-focused experience. And just the marginalization of motherhood. It's great to see that she wasn't marginalized when it came to the wins. Marty Supreme, the movie we'll be talking about later, Timothée Chalamet won for musical or comedy, so they included that film in comedy, which I guess is fair. What actor won for friggin' drama? Who won Best Actor in a Drama? Let's just keep going through the other ones first. We had Cinematic and Box Office Achievement went to Sinners. Feel like that was a bit of a courtesy prize. Yeah, Sinners really got robbed. It was a little bit annoying. It's crazy to see Sinners dropping off that much. I think because it came out so much earlier in the year, there is a little bit of drop-off. Best Director went to Paul Thomas Anderson instead of Ryan Coogler. Kind of expected that. Best Motion Picture Animated, K-Pop Demon Hunters, of course. Still yet to see Little Amelie or the character of Rain, or the Demon Slayer movie or Chainsaw Man, which are the only other competitors really in this category, as Pixar and Disney had some hits this year, but nothing for friggin' animated movies haven't been as good this year. It's that simple. Best Motion Picture, Non-English Language, The Secret Agent won. That was where we got our winner for Best Actor, the lead of The Secret Agent, which I thought was an inspired win, giving it to, where is his name? Wagner Moura, winning for Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy went to One Battle After Another. Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture Drama went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Likely she will win the Best Actress. And then Best Motion Picture Drama went to Hamnet, which is crazy considering I probably would have put all the picks except Frankenstein, personally, above Hamnet. So the categories there, we had Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. And Hamnet came on top of all of them. I guess that shows Sinners really isn't as powerful as we thought. What else does it show? So it shows that friggin' One Battle After Another and Paul Thomas Anderson are steamrolling ahead to get a couple of wins, at least the director and adapted screenplay win, I bet. And I do think One Battle After Another, so in musical or comedy, it was competing against, I think its biggest competitors would have been No Other Choice and Marty Supreme, and it easily beat those. So it's Hamnet versus One Battle at the Oscars, and I guess that's an interesting show. The only other news story I had to talk about was The Handmaiden. So that film, not The Handmaiden, fucking The Housemaid. We're not talking about Park Chan-wook. The Housemaid got a sequel announced with Amanda Seyfried and friggin' Sydney Sweeney returning. So that's a little bit of news. There's not much else I want to talk about other than, that the world's ending and all that and everything's terrible. So let's just skip that. Let's skip the box office because that's broken again. And let's get into a couple of great movies. A couple of great movies that you gotta see. Let's start with Marty Supreme. It's a movie about grabbing life by the balls. It's about dreaming big and second chances. So after the split of the Safdie brothers, this is directed by Josh Safdie, it's become clear who's more interested in surveillance, blurring the lines between reality and fiction, and the many multitudes that public figures hide. Benny Safdie, with his TV show The Curse and his film The Smashing Machine, are both post-breakup soft triumphs, I guess I'd call them. I've been waiting to see what Josh Safdie has to offer, and it's clear that he's carrying the spirit of the duo's most famous works, Good Time and Uncut Gems. This is another mile-a-minute, heart-racing, pulsing, high-energy, high-octane thriller about getting done what needs to be done, no matter how rude, shrewd, manipulative you have to be, striving for the very best. And I can't stress enough how inspired the casting choice for this film is, and this movie will be known as the breaking out film for Timothée Chalamet, the true star moment for him. His previous films, you had the Dune movies, you had Complete Unknown, Even Call Me By Your Name. They had all this acclaim behind them. They had IP behind them. This movie is just Chalamet getting up on his soapbox, making a $70 million movie with A24, 70 million USD, their most expensive movie ever made. And it's because he wants to be the best fucking actor in the world. Just like Marty, Mauser wants to be the best fucking ping pong player in the world. And this performance is as driven, is as inspired, and as close to real life as you can see. You can see this sweat, you can see this passion coming off of this actor as he really makes a punt to be the next Leonardo DiCaprio. And he's pulling it fucking off. And what's also good is the movie is built around him, serving him, and is constantly giving you a different angle of him. Every now and then he'll drop something outlandish, whether it's a racist comment or whether it's abandoning someone in the middle of an intimate moment. This character and this brashness goes so well with what Timmy is striving to be, one of the greats. And this movie, I think, really holds up against Good Time and Uncut Gems. Maybe it's a little weaker. I think it starts to teeter a little towards the end. It's very long. I don't think it quite has the same mile-a-minute fucking what's happening next kind of deal that Uncut Gems had. It would occasionally fall into a kind of a routine of, oh, something's about to happen, then something bad happens, something's about to happen, then something bad happens, but I didn't mind that. I found the most exciting scenes to be the ping pong scenes, of course. This is where Timmy is really just showing off his goods. He's showing off he can actually play ping pong on screen, and he can captivate an audience. I think this movie is so alive. It has such a beating heart. It reminds me of films of the 70s that just went for it and was just a story about a guy and his ambition. It's a very kind of white male-coded movie, I hate to say, but it is about being white, young, and brash in your 20s and pushing barriers, you know? I think there's a lot of great supporting cast here. Tyler, the Creator, actually does a supporting role in some very hilarious scenes. This movie has a lot in common with One Battle After Another in terms of just its roaring set pieces that bleed into one another. This is a period piece, though. Which makes sense because it's really inspired by those kind of aspirational movies. You're Rocky, but with a real satirical edge of something a little more darker. The King of Comedy, Taxi Driver. It's got a really fine balance between the two modes, and I found it just very thrilling. There was no point I was bored during the movie. I was just captivated between Timmy and his goal. It has some incredible needle drops, a very poignant, very deliberately made movie, but it's that star at its core that is getting everybody into the theater and is keeping them locked there. I really would love to see what Josh does next. I kind of wish he would get back with Benny, because I think maybe not having him has... neither of them have lost the sauce. I think both of these are great movies, but I think they work so much better together. Good Time and Uncut Gems, I think, are better than anything the two have done on their own. So it's a really good move for Timmy. This is really paying off for him. The movie's getting friggin' awards left and right. It's like very highly rated film. Right next to One Battle, it's probably the biggest. Maybe that and Hamnet. Put it in there with It's Just an Accident. But this is such a specific type of movie. If you don't like brash characters, if you don't like Bob Dylan types, maybe not for you, but if you like movies that fucking grab you by the balls and never let go, this is one of them to go see. So, really can recommend Marty Supreme. It's a very excellent movie with one of the best performances of the year. So now, No Other Choice. This is cheating. This is a little bit of cheating. This is one of the finest films of the year. For sure. Marty Supreme, excellent movie. Definitely one of the best picture contenders. But for me personally, it's not right at the top of the rack. But this is Park Chan-wook's latest film, No Other Choice. In probably one of our earliest episodes, I talked about it debuting at the Venice Film Festival to softer reviews than I was expecting, as friggin' Park Chan-wook has talked about this being his big movie that he's wanted to make for a long time, his masterpiece. This is the director of Old Boy, The Handmaiden, not The Housemaid, The Handmaiden, Decision to Leave, I was about to say If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, but no, I'm a Cyborg, but that's okay. Joint Security Area, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. This is a guy who makes violent as fucking movies that really nail the moment. And this is a movie that fucking nails the moment. It's a movie about a guy who gets laid off from his job in the paper industry because there was no other choice, and he is going to war for his family. He is going to get a job and get his family out of this hole and keep the family status, the financial status that he's worked so hard to achieve, and he's going to do it by making sure there is no other choice but him for this paper company job. He's going to knock off everybody, murder them, and try and get the job. Only thing is, this guy is not a murderer at all. This guy is a sweetheart. We were just talking about Marty Supreme being this, Marty Mauser being this grab life by the balls type, never say no, always got a quip, always fucking someone over. And this guy is a meek sort of paper salesman who's very proud of his job, very proud of his family, and just wants to provide for them, and is forced to take a sort of Marty Supreme role. And this is a devilish fucking movie made by one of the most devilish filmmakers ever. It has such interesting camera work, has cross-cutting and editing like I haven't seen before, and all of it is in favor of this absurdly funny tale of trying to keep your head above water in our fucking economic circumstances. And as the movie goes on further and further, it's clearer that AI and bigwigs and people who think they know better and Americans coming in and buying out their companies, it's a very poignant sort of look at how the capitalist machine has just stripped away what certain types of people have worked for years. Their systems. My dad growing up was eaten and chewed and spat out by the mining industry, so this is a very similar tale to that, and that feeling of what am I supposed to do to stay above competition, where how far are you willing to go? And this movie constantly plays with that to like hilarious degree. It is a black as black comedy. You've got scenes where he's trying to avoid showing his wife that he's burying someone or such sort of things, or that he's bonsaiing someone or cutting someone up. And he's a very meek, sort of down-to-earth kind of guy that occasionally just breaks. There's so many little things that Park does to make you relate to this character more and more. Things like his tooth constantly aching, things like having to get rid of the dogs from their home because they can't afford dog food anymore. Or like even just like tiny little jokes like we got to cancel Netflix, like first world problems, am I right? I thought the whole family was fantastic here too. The supporting actress is one of my favorites of the year. His wife, they have this constant back and forth where he's worried that because he's lost his job, she won't see him in the same way anymore and she's going to cuck him. And then you've got this sort of autistic coded daughter and a brother who's not so happy with the father, but he's kind of like, which direction am I supposed to take? Am I supposed to be like him? He doesn't really seem like he knows what he's doing, but he's really trying, everyone giving each other the benefit of the doubt. It all boils into this melting pot of comedy of errors, of dark comedy, and of cutting social satire with such a brilliant ending. It all comes together perfectly. This is a switch watch kind of movie. And I'm going to see it again. I thought the first time I watched it was honestly not confusing. I wasn't confused at any point because even if you don't know the exact plans of the character, I think you can just follow along what's going pretty clearly. But towards the end, it does get a little elaborate, maybe a little bit too much for its own good, but ultimately comes in and really fucking delivers. I think it is one of the finer movies of the year with this incredible performance at its core of just a man slowly fucking losing it because he doesn't have this ideal life. And much like Marty Supreme, he's got this vision of what he wants and he'll do anything to get it. So we've got 2 movies this week that are about pure ambition, and meanwhile you got me podcasting. And that's all I'm about, baby. So this was a good episode this week, just to talk about pure ambition. I am going really good on my fine art project, so that's how I'm going to leave you this week. No other choice, a fucking fantastic movie. Go and see it. Both this and Mighty Supreme are must-see movies, in my opinion. And I hope they both get nominated for Best Actor, although at this point, looks like Wagner Moura will for The Secret Agent, which comes out in Australian cinemas soon. I managed to see it at the Sydney Film Festival last week. Yeah. I'm bouncing a lot. But hey, you're the one listening to the podcast. Bouncing back and forth a lot. Like ping pong balls. Damn. Good movies this week, guys. 2 really ecstatic movies with fucking jet engines at their core. And just really happy we've been talking about movies so much again lately. I'll be back next week with... not sure yet. Haven't mapped out this week's viewing habits. If it's a little slower and I don't end up seeing anything, maybe we'll get that often promised best movies of the century fucking fucking podcast. What are we doing here, guys? I think it's time to sign off. Anyway, thanks for tuning into the Hem Productions podcast for this week. Grab life by the balls, guys. See you next week.